Welcome back to our Modern Architecture course. My name is John Lobel, and these lectures are on the American architect Louis Kahn. And so this is part 6, and we're going to talk a little bit about how Kahn approaches design. So you've seen how his buildings are maybe more substantial than some other modern architects, and so he has a predilection for heavy masonry, but there's also a different philosophical approach. So let's see what we mean by that. So let's start with Beaux-Arts architecture. So here's the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., 1941. And it's kind of late for a Beaux-Arts building, but it served our example well. And recall that Kahn was educated in the Beaux-Arts tradition at the University of Pennsylvania. And here you see the center of the building, the National Gallery, borrowing from the Roman Pantheon. Now, the National Gallery is historically rooted and designed from prototypes. Historically rooted meaning deriving from historical examples, here the Roman Pantheon, and then by design from prototypes. If we look at the building, we see there's a entrance which has a grand stair and a vestibule. There's a lobby which is domed. Then there is a great stair, there's 2 stairs here. There is halls, and then there are large, medium, and small spaces. So if we go to the Boston Public Library, the New York Public Library, the Metropolitan Museum, they all have these 5 elements. These are prototypical elements that the Beaux-Arts architect works from. And by their refinement over the centuries, it assures usually a good design. Now, let's contrast that with modern architecture. So here we have Walter Gropius's Bauhaus building. He has workshops, classrooms, dorm studios, and administration. So here is the workshops. They look like a factory. Floor-to-ceiling glass, giant heavy concrete, big slabs. Then we've got the classrooms, these linear elements that can be subdivided depending upon how big you want the classroom to be. The dorm, with each room having a balcony, so it's like your home in the sky, and then administration links all of them. So the design of this comes from the program, how it's being used. Kahn doesn't use either of these approaches. He does something totally different. Kahn designs from archetypes. He seeks to find the building's existence will. Recall that Kahn begins every project with the question, what does this building want to be? He says, I think of a library as a place where the librarian places books on tables open to seductive passages. You take the book and you go to the light. So from here you then go to your little study carrel. So the form of this building comes from his understanding of a library. What does a library want to be? Here's another example of this. This is the First Unitarian Church in Rochester, New York. I'm not showing you the building. It'll look sort of like this, but how does he arrive at that? He starts with this form diagram, and he says, okay, I'm doing a church here. What's involved? So he says, first you have a sanctuary, and a sanctuary is for those who want to kneel. So that this is for the people who are really committed. Around the sanctuary is an ambulatory, and the ambulatory is for those who are not sure but want to be near. Outside is a court for those who want to feel the presence of the chapel, and the court has a wall. Those who pass the wall can just wink at it. So what's your relationship to this religion? Are you centered in it and committed to it, or you just sort of want to know it's there, but you're not really committed to it? And so that gives him this diagram, which then leads to this initial design Then he says, you know, it's got a school. Maybe the school wants to be separate. I said, well, you know, the bathrooms have to go back here, and it was there. And so he ends up with the final design by going through these stages. So that's Kahn's approach to design. It's different from that of modern architecture, which designs from a program. And it's different from the Beaux-Arts, which designs from a set of prototypes. So, our takeaway, 3 approaches to design. The Beaux-Arts, design from prototypes. Modern architecture, design from program. And Louis Kahn, design from existence will. Now here's something for you to think about. Each of these implies a different notion of who we are as human beings. Are we historically rooted in Rome? Are we materialist, functionalist beings? Do we have an internal archetypal existence will? 3 totally different approaches to who we are as human beings implied by these 3 different architectures. So our final presentation will be on Kahn's philosophy.